right, let's get pumped. We're back in action on a special Saturday edition of the Power 32 podcast, where it's time to look at the betting line as me and my special guests are going to go through and pick each game against the spread. My name is Jason Fearman, aka the Sports Prophet, here with you. And joining me this morning is my man Chirs Negron, my boy from the boroughs, baby, from the Bucky down Bronx. I'm from Brooklyn. We're all about it. The Borough Boys in action. Little NFL talk for you on a Saturday morning. Chris, I'm so glad you're here, bro. How you doing?
Man, and if you ask me, if you come up in the right part of the New York, you're not going to let your boys become Giants or Jets fans, right? It only makes sense that we found our way out of the plight, right? Out of the sadness of New York.
That's
So,
right.
yes, we're the Borough Boys that are thriving, baby, and I'm happy to be here.
That's right. That's right. No doubt. We got to represent. We got to represent no matter where we are right now. I'm down here in South Florida, and it's actually cool. People are wearing like winter coats. It's 68 degrees, and people are freezing their ass off, but I'm loving it. It's amazing.
They hit the panic button early down there in Florida for sure.
Yep, going crazy. Just no more damn hurricanes. That's all I care about. Let that go. Let that go. Yo, so me and Chris are here to do NFL game picks. I know we already had a Thursday night game. That passed Tennessee won 27-17, showing that they're still a pretty good team. But we have a whole bunch of games left to go. We're going to go all the way through the Monday night game where my 49ers are playing Arizona Cardinals in Mexico City. So we're going to pick each game against the spread. But it doesn't mean that we necessarily like the team that we're going to pick. So we're going to give you our winners as well. So if you guys want to jump in, hop in on the comment section. You are more than welcome to. So we're not going to waste any time here. We don't do all this posturing and nonsense. We're about to play ball. So let's get into it, Chris. And the first game we got is the Eagles coming off their first loss, an ugly one against Washington in their home stadium. Now they got to travel to Indy. They're favored by 7 points. I get it. A couple of stats for you right now. As far as defensively, the Eagles are 16th. I'm sorry, the Eagles are against the run. The Eagles are second against the run, all right, but they're 17th against the pass, I believe it is. So, and Indy is 15th against the run, and they're 16th against the pass. So they're kind of like middle of the pack right now. So the one thing you can do, I guess, you can run on Philly a little bit. They're 17th, but Jonathan Taylor had a good game last week. And Matt Ryan is back under center, and Jeff Saturday is there, and all of that, and this and the other thing. So, Eagles favored by 7 points on the road. Who do you think is going to win, and who will cover if you think the Eagles are going to take it?
It's great questions, man. I love too that the chronicle of Jeff Saturday, the second game, is coming up against this powerhouse Eagles team.
Yeah.
Sets a nice little narrative here. What doesn't speak out about the Eagles defense too is them missing Jordan Davis. I think he was huge in stopping the run for them as well. And with him out, they're trying to patch together a whole bunch of different things, signing Ndamukong Suh, and just trying to patch up that defense to do whatever they can. I like the Eagles here. I think they're going to win. If they end up losing this game, I'll be freaking shocked. And definitely there's some stuff to reconsider. But I don't think they're going to cover that 7 points. I'm going Eagles, but I don't think they cover the spread.
See, now I agree with you, actually. I do think the Eagles are going to win, but I don't think they're going to cover because I think that Indy will run the ball. And you're right. That's a great call from you. They did sign Ndamukong Suh, who is now fresh, coming in and ready to play. I don't know how many snaps he'll get in this first game or whatever. But, as we know, they signed, Robert Quinn to come over there recently. But Jordan Davis being out is a great call because they revolve their defensive line on the nose tackle, and that's what he is. And Fletcher Cox, as great as he is, needs Davis next to him. So, that's where Indy can get them. But again, I think Philly is overall the better team. They'll be able to pass the ball a little bit more. They can run, certainly, because Indy's defense is not as good as we thought. But I'm with you. I don't think they're going to cover. So I agree with you. That's 1-for-1. Then we have the Lions going to the Giants. The Lions getting 3 points. The Giants only favored by 3 points in this game. The over-under is 45. So the Giants defensively passing, they're 13th against the pass. We know that Detroit likes to pass the ball around, so we'll see how that goes. And Detroit is 24th against the pass. The Giants don't have many receivers, all right? But Detroit's run defense is terrible, and that's where the Giants can really get him, Chris, where Saquon Barkley is leading the league in rushing right now.
Ooh, I love the way you set it up, man. I'm actually surprised by this number. I think I might hammer this myself. I think I'm going with the Giants to cover that. I think they're going to definitely be winning this game by more than 3 points. I really like the spark that Dayball give this team and the way he was airing out the sideline last week because they didn't score a touchdown against the Falcons, even though they're already up by 4 points at that very moment. So this really speaks to the expectations he has on that squad, expectations they haven't had in a couple years. So I'm liking what I'm seeing out of them. Give me the Giants to cover.
No doubt. I think the Giants are covered too. That 3 points though was weird for me. I don't get that. I mean, the Giants are what, a 7-2 team right now. It's in New York, New Jersey, obviously East Rutherford. So I feel like they should be favored more, but it does scare me. But overall, no, the Giants are the better team. They should be able to run the ball, do their thing, get a couple of passes going here and there to who, I don't know, but I'm with you. I think the Giants cover. So I'm with you on that one as well. All right, the next game, Browns-Bills. This game was going to be in Buffalo, but there's 95 feet of snow, so they're not going to play the game over there. So the Browns are getting 7.5 points in this game. Cleveland hasn't really found a way to get it together. The one thing they do well is we know that they run the ball well. And the Bills' run defense is 7th in the league. And I think that's kind of skewed a little bit, Chris, because teams don't run the ball much against them because they're playing catch-up a lot. So they throw the ball more often, where the defensive Bills on defense, even though they're been missing their top players and they're relying on Kyer Elam, a rookie, and the cornerback, they're 9th against the pass. So I think the numbers are a little bit skewed where the Browns, if any team, Nick Chubb can get off and run the ball. So I'll tell you what, man, I think the Bills are going to win this game, most likely. I wouldn't be shocked if Cleveland wins. That's why I'm easily taking the 7.5 points for Cleveland.
Man, I love the way you set it up. You snatched it from me because I was ready to do the exact same thing. I'm a little worried about this Bills team, man. We
Yeah.
spent probably like 40 minutes on the sideline guys last episode talking about the outcomes of what this week could bring for them. And I think them losing this game is going to be really detrimental to them and their hopes to get out of the AFC. So I think they do win this game. I agree. But I think this one's going to be sneaky close, especially with the injury status still being up in the air with Josh Allen. So I agree with you 100%. That's 3 for 3.
Yeah, that is 3 for 3. It's great minds think alike right there. Buffalo just ain't right now. They're not, they're certain. Look, they get off to a good start, but they're not closing out games. And if they're going to lose to the Jets, we got to give the Jets some respect at this point, no doubt. But other games that we've seen them fall apart, and it's alarming. It really is. And I wonder about Josh Allen's elbow, and that's another story altogether. But speaking of those Jets, they cannot beat the Patriots. They have lost 13 straight to them. But right now, the Jets going into New England, they're still getting 3.5 points. They're not the favorite in this game. The Patriots are -3.5, an over/under of 38.5. So that tells you everything you need to know. It's going to be a low-scoring game because the Jets' defense and New England's defense are both really good against the run and the pass. So you know what? It comes down to execution, not turning the ball over, and coaching to me. So those are the three things. And you know what? To me, that all favors New England, bro.
Man, if Brees Hall was still playing, I might have had a different feeling. But I agree with you 100%. I think Judon's going to go crazy in this game. I think mark him down for 2 sacks as well. That's what I'm calling on this one. But I definitely agree with you on this one as well, funny enough.
See, again, great minds think alike. And here's another great mind just popping in. Like, what a surprise, bro. Courtney, what's happening, man? I love this.
What up, guys? What's going on? How are y'all today?
Oh, we're good. We're good. I know that you got to be feeling better, obviously, after a few days. The undefeated season is over. But you know what? We talked about Philly and Indy a little bit earlier. We got to think that Philly's got to get their stuff together. But the one thing we're worried about with them, maybe even going forward without Jordan Davis, and you know better than we do, and Chris brought up a great point, the run defense, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's been a problem. Teams are just gashing them, and it's been like that. I mean, it's funny that it's being highlighted the last couple of games, which is true, but that's been like you said, since Jordan Davis went out, it's been a problem, like a huge problem. Like teams are just running right through them, and it's just straight runs. It's any runs, zone runs, it's anything, inside zone runs, all those things. Yeah. And teams are just going right through them, so they know, okay, this is a little bit of a weakness, but the Eagles addressed it, and a lot of people they're panicking, saying, "Oh, this is a weakness and things like that." Yeah, it was one game. It was one game that they had a bad game, but it wasn't just the run defense; it was the turnovers. That was a huge thing. The Eagles haven't turned the ball over all season. I think they had 3 turnovers going into that game, and they uncharacteristically had 4. So if you turn the ball over 4 times, you're not going to win. So yeah, there was a lot of missed calls and things like that. There was just a lot. So to me, it wasn't just the run defense; it's a huge glaring weakness. But I think it was the self-inflicted turnovers and the penalties and no calls that really affected them, and they got beat. So we know watching football for so many years, if a team turns the ball over 4 times, you're not going to win. No matter, I don't care how good you are. And they still had a chance to win that game, which was crazy to even say. They should have been blown out. The Eagles should have gotten beat even worse. But I guess they're good on both sides of the ball. They can weather the storm, and they almost did, but the turnovers really did them in mostly.
Yeah, it's not like anybody was sitting back here saying, "Oh my God, the Eagles are going to go undefeated this season." I mean, it really wasn't. So, what, it's okay. Lose a game, get it out of your system, and maybe you can play better from there on. And again, they signed Ndamukong Suh, so let's see him coming in with fresh legs, how much that'll help out.
Yeah, Linval Joseph too. Don't forget about him.
That's right.
They signed him, and then Ndamukong Suh. So the Eagles know, okay, we have a problem. This is a huge problem. It can be a long-term issue. Let's address it. Which they're all in. They are all in for this try to do a Super Bowl run, which I'm loving to see. And they're addressing it. So because these are 1-year deals. So these guys that they're signing. Right. So let's see if it can help. But yeah, Jordan Davis, that's a big blow, and it's showing.
It is, no doubt. Let's see. And yep, like you said, they just tried to shore it up with 2 veterans, 2 big boys that they could put in the middle over there. So let's see what they could do. No doubt. All right. Well, I'm glad you're here. Let's continue.
Glad to be here.
Let's continue rolling over here. Wait, Chris, we were in the middle of doing the Jet Patriot game right before we stopped, right?
Yep. And I'm going with the Patriots at home. Divisional rivals are always good to give you a 1-1, in my opinion, and throughout the rest of the season. That's why also too I wasn't too surprised about that game as well. It's like, hey, divisional matchup, shit happens every season. It's expected you're going to go 1-1. Yep.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And you know what? I think the Patriots are going to win too, but I think it's probably going to be a field goal game. And being the fact that it's 3.5, I guess I will take the Jets, but. You see, Courtney, Vegas is so sneaky. They put 3.5. They're saying, go take the Jets. It'll only be a field goal game. But they know something that we don't. That's why they made it 3.5. And that's why I think a lot of people are betting on the Jets, thinking it'll just be a field goal game. And I think maybe I'm getting suckered into it.
No, you're right. Vegas is very sneaky. When that line pushes to a half point, it's like, I don't know. That half point, should I go the opposite way? But I like the Patriots too, the divisional matchup. Zach Wilson, he's going to have to the Jets have everything. It's just, to me, it's still the quarterback position where they're the weakness. He's hit or miss. And if he throws picks, which he's prone to do, turn the ball over, I think the Patriots get the victory. So I like the Patriots in this one too.
Yeah, so do I. Look, Matthew Judon leading the league in sacks, 11.5 right now. I think he'll end the day with probably 13.5. I think he gets 2 of them, even though the Jets do have a good offensive line. I think Belichick's got the number, like we said, 13 in a row. And it comes down to a game like this where the quarterback, it comes down to not turning the ball over, and it comes down to coaching. And I think, again, the Patriots just have him, by that much in all those categories, even though I do respect what the Jets are doing. I respect what Justin Fields is doing. He has been absolutely remarkable, and he's taken his Bears to Atlanta to play the Falcons, and Chicago's actually getting 3 points in this game. So Atlanta's favored. Maybe that's the home field 3 points, Chris, and it's really more of like a pick'em type of game. The over-under in this one, I'm not shocked by it. I think it's going to be really high scoring. It's 49.5. But to give you some numbers, I don't even have to give you numbers. Both defenses stink, but Atlanta's defense stinks even that much more. So I'm expecting a lot of points scored in this game, and I think the Bears win outright, Chris. So I'm going to take the 3 points. I'm going to take the Bears, and I might even take the over, even though that's an absurd amount, 49.5.
Man, I agree. I hate it, man. I want to have some opposition here, but I just have to agree. I think on paper, the team that the Falcons brought into the season, you thought they were going to be one way, and it really turned out the opposite. They obviously have been such a run-heavy team with everything going on. I expected them to have something going in the passing game, considering they have, I would consider, one of the best receiving cores when you consider tight end, wide receiver, all of that. But I feel like they've really underperformed, which made it super weird for me to pick them throughout the whole season. And I agree, man. Justin Fields is on a roll. It's not just the rushing plays. Those are the ones that gets highlighted. But he's really doing the best to make defenses think about that, but then
Yeah.
executing those passes to make it worthwhile, right? You have to have both. You can't just have one. And I think he's really underrated, doing a good job in the passing game as well. So give me the Bears too.
Yeah, totally, bro. Yo, side note, guys, I wanted the 49ers to draft Justin Fields when we took Trey Lance.
Yeah.
I was saying, please give me Fields, please. We have a chance to take him. I'm like, you don't move up that many picks for a guy who played 12 games in Division III college. You know, I thought they were taking Fields, but you know what? Another story. Let's see what happens next year. But Justin Fields, his ability to run, obviously, has opened up that passing game like you were talking about. So guys are now more wide open because linebackers are coming in. And also in this game, I think that's a big deal, Courtney. Again, Atlanta, I think, is dead last in the league against the run. So I would expect David Montgomery to have a really big day also.
Oh yeah, David Montgomery's going to eat. He's going to eat big time, and and I think now, like you said, with Justin Fields, the Bears are finally putting a competent team out there to help him out because this guy was running for his life. Now they don't have everything together yet, but Fields is making it look easy for them to move the ball, as you said, because you got to respect the run, and he can throw the ball some. So it's not like he can't throw the football. He just never had time to do it. This guy's running around and everything too. So the Bears are finally putting a team together, even though their record is 3-7. But they're going against another team that to me is even worse. As you said, Atlanta. There was some expectations, but they're running up. They can run the football. That's what they do. That's what they do. But if the Bears jump ahead early and they get an early lead, that forces Atlanta to throw the football. They don't want to do that. So right. I can see this being a high scoring game too. I can see it either way. I can see it being high scoring, or I can see it being one of those slugfest type of games, 17-14, where there's turnovers on both sides and nobody can do it. But I do like I agree. I think I like the Bears. I'll take the 3. I like the Bears though in the 3 points.
All right. See, again, we're all on the same page over here. I'm hoping that's a good thing. I'm hoping that's a good thing. If we split somewhere. But yes. This next line is really big, and we can all tell why. Look, Baltimore is at home hosting the Carolina Panthers, who are having problems all over the place. They're on their second string of basically everything, and the Ravens are favored 13 points. So Carolina's got to have a really tough time running the ball if that's what they decide to do, and that's what they try to do to open up their passing game, because Baltimore's really good against the run, and now they got Roquan Smith over there to help them out even more. I would expect Baltimore to win this game handily, and I know that 13 points is a lot, or even 13.5, whatever the line is at now. But damn, Chris, I got to think that Baltimore actually covers it. So I got to take the Ravens and give all those points away, because Carolina to me is that bad.
Man, I agree. And I think I really was liking what I was seeing out of PJ Walker. Like, I feel like if he was starting, I might have felt a little bit differently, because that's a wide line, right? That's a wide line.
Yeah.
But may I add CFL MVP PJ Walker? Let's respect on his name.
Respect on his name, right?
But yeah, for sure. I definitely agree with you. I think Ravens are going to cover that big number. But I think it's going to be a fun one. And I hope out of necessity, right? So Mark Andrews went down, right? And Isaiah Likely came in and just balled that week.
Yeah.
I was talking on the TSG, man. I hope that necessity, right, having to bring in Isaiah Likely, wakes up the coordinator's eyes to see, we might have a two-headed monster here at tight end. And if we're able to really make that a big part of our execution on offense, I think our running game is only going to get better, on top of a bigger threat in the passing game too. So looking to see that in this matchup specifically.
That is really well said, because you know what? He is look, he's awesome. He's an athlete. He is a touchdown. The guy does a lot. And Baltimore, usually they like to play 2 or 3 tight ends in their lineup at the same time. So you know what? I would like to see both of them on the same field, on the same time and on the field. And I think we're going to see that a lot, Courtney. So on top of that, Kenyon Drake can probably go off in this game. Yeah. Carolina can't stop the run. That's another thing they can't do. And if Lamar Jackson can come in at least 80% for himself, because he's not fully healthy right now, they should still be able to get the job done, and he should be able to complete passes to Duvernay. And Andrews has been practicing, so I expect him to come back as well. So Baltimore, really, they are just that much of a better team. So I'm going with Chris. So, I think they cover the 13.
I do too, and I think the only way Carolina can make this game competitive if they just run the football. Like, if Deontay Foreman has one of those games, he gets a lot of work, 30+ carries. That means that keeps Lamar off the field. That was the recipe for the Commanders against the Eagles. They just controlled the clock. They ran the football. I don't know if Carolina's going to be able to move the ball like that the way Washington did against Philly, against this Ravens D. And the Ravens had almost 2 weeks off, so hopefully they got healthy. They had a bye, and they played 2 weeks ago Thursday night. So They've had a lot of time off.
That's
so,
right.
they're biting at the bit to put some points. They're going to put some points against Carolina. They're going to move the football, whether it's the running game or Lamar Jackson throwing the football. As of right now, and I don't think Baltimore, they don't want to lose this type of game where the Steelers are actually coming up too. That division still, with the Bengals and the Steelers, that division is still wide open in a way. So Baltimore wants to keep winning, and this is a game that they should dominate. So I like Baltimore to win big as well.
No doubt. No doubt. Yep, we can all agree right there. All right, that's another one. We keep on going. All right, well, let's see what happens. This one is a weird game over here, but the Commanders, who are a sneaky 5-5 right now, everybody would be like, what? They won 5 games, and yeah, they actually did. And they're going to play the Texans in Houston, and the Commanders are actually favored on the road by 3 in this game. And Houston's pass defense, it's kind of skewed because teams really love to run the ball on them because Houston is dead last against the run. So that means Brian Robinson Jr., that means Antonio Gibson. They should have really big days, which would open up play action for Taylor Heineke and Curtis Samuel to get the job done. I don't see how Houston can really take advantage in any way except for Dameon Pierce unless he goes off. So, Chris, that's where I'm torn. Can Dameon Pierce go off and keep this a close game? Or are the Commanders that much better? That 3 points, that's really tough. I really don't want to touch that. And being the fact that the Texans are home, and I think that it won't be any more than a field goal game, I'm kind of forced to take the Texans and the points, even though I do believe the Commanders will win. I don't know. What do you think?
Man, I've been debating this one specifically because I am the resident Houston Texans lover on my show. I'm always trying to give them credit. I've been trying to promote Davis Mills from General Mills to the General for the last 5 weeks. He hasn't gotten me over the hump just yet. So I'm not making that move just yet. Shout out to Brian Robinson, man. As a New York guy, I know when he came back from everything he dealt with, getting shot in the offseason, and then coming back to play in that same year, he comes out to many men, walks like that is a fucking moment. I don't care. If you're from New York, that's even more of a significant moment. So shout out to him and balling out too in his return. I definitely think that the Commanders are going to win this one, but I agree with you, man. I think Texans are gonna cover that, so I'm taking them there.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Texans, Courtney, even have a possibility of winning this game again. I think it really depends on their rookie running back. I'm still taking the Commanders, but again, if I had to pick, I got the home dogs. They come through a lot, so I'll take the 3 points.
Yeah, I agree. Another one I agree with. I think the Commanders they win, but take those points in the Texans. And I think the only way the Texans can win is they got to keep running with Dameon Pierce, and they got to run the football effectively. And the thing is, they possibly could have won the game last week against the Giants if they don't turn the ball over in the red zone. Like that was their Achilles. They kept turning the ball over, and that's what they do. They can move the football. The Texans have no problem moving the football. It's just they get into the red zone and there's a turnover, or something happens, or there's field goal, things like that. But the one thing it's going to be hard to run against the Commanders. The Eagles couldn't do it. Well, how about this? The Eagles didn't commit to the run until like it was too late, where they did. And that's the love-hate relationship I have with the Eagles. Sometimes, like they don't run the football. They'll run it and then they'll get away from it. It's like, let's start running the football. We can move the football running but the Commanders, that defensive line, it's hard to run against. And so Pierce might have a hard time running against that. Now, if that happens, I think Washington takes command. They take command. No pun intended. They take command of this game and they win. But yeah, the Texans. I think take the points with the Texans, but I think the Commanders do pull this win.
Yep. That's the way I would go. That tough game that nobody really wants to watch. We'll just find out what the score is at the end.
1916 or something like that.
Yes, exactly. All right, this next game looked good on paper in the beginning of the year, but both teams have proved to be pretty freaking bad right now, and the Rams' numbers are very, very skewed offensively and defensively. They've been Cooper Kupp centric, and now he's out. He's been 38% of their offense. I mean, give me a break. So without him, it's going to be tough. So the Rams are getting 2.5 points. The Saints are favored 2.5 in New Orleans. The over-under is really low. It's at 39, guys. And the Rams against the run, they're ranked 4th, and New Orleans is ranked 25th. So I don't know if Darrell Henderson, Cam Akers can get a little combination thing going over here. But at the same time, I feel like the Rams just can't get enough points on the board. They won't be able to move. And the Saints defense can show up at times, and I feel like this is one of the games that will show up, but are they going to be able to score? So even before I even give my prediction, let me go back around. Courtney, let me start with you. This game is really hard to even just pick a winner, let alone go with the point spread. So Rams Rams getting 2.5 points in New Orleans. I'm not sure where the points are going to come from either team.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't touch this game at all.
Yeah, right.
You don't even
hands off one.
Yeah, this is one of those ones where it could go either way. And I was having a hard time even looking at this game because you said the Rams are 3-6, Saints are 3-7. The Saints are home. Maybe that'll help, but can either team move the football? Can they either even? It's not even like the fact that they're both defenses are really good. It's just the both offenses can't really move it. I think the one difference I think the Saints have is will Kamara have one of those games where he can, have catch the football and run the football as well. Yeah. So I kind of like the Saints just because they're home, but the Rams, they are the Super Bowl champions. You would think this would be the game. Like, okay, can we get right? But without Kupp, and both teams are dealing with a lot of injuries. I don't know where the Rams are going to be able to move the football without him. So because Stafford was just keying in on Cooper Kupp.
Yes.
And it was, like you said, it was Cooper Kupp centric. So, but I like the Saints. I think Alvin Kamara will have one of those games. So give me the Saints, but a real close game. Maybe they get the 3 points, but I like the Saints just to win outright.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be a tight game either way that it does go. And again, you're right. Look, both teams have won 3 games so far. I mean, the Rams are 3-6, the Saints are 3-7. Neither one of them are going to the playoffs to see it, Chris.
Right.
But again, this is really, I think that what New Orleans needs to do if they want to start scoring more points is involve Taysom Hill a little bit more and try to get a little bit more creative with him, because Alvin Kamara can't do anything, and you're relying on a rookie in Chris Olave to run your entire wide receiving core.
Right.
And I actually like what I've been seeing out of him. Like, I feel like the Saints team is super confusing. Like, one week they show up looking really good, and then the next they shit the bed. I mean, even in the game against my Ravens, I thought that game was closer than the final score showed, because there was a lot of plays that literally, if the receiver makes a catch, now the drive is continuing, right? So I really don't know how to feel about the Saints, but I know how to feel about the Rams, and they are in a real bad way. Something that I would have been absolutely shocked if you would have told me when it happened was looking back at that Allen Robinson move actually being one of the most pivotal moments in the offseason for any team.
I think, with you, man. Yeah,
man. Considering there's no way OBJ is coming back now, right? Like, there's no way he's re-signing with them, and spending that money in that way and sort of fire sailing it once your defensive move in Von Miller went away. It really made that the focus, right? That needs to work out, and it hasn't. And I think the fact that that money spent there ends up coming to bite you in the long term, because now you can't re-sign the other main guy. It just spells a lot of problems, man. And early in this season, I was saying I feel a little bad for Stafford, because everyone's going to bag on him. And I feel like the talk of the town the last 3 years is about how he's not a good QB. The interception numbers last year were the big one every one of his haters point to. But this season, it's like, it's just a wash. Like, his line is absolutely battered and beaten at this point. So having to deal with that, and then he's out. So there's no way that I'm touching the Rams on this. I'm going the Saints to cover.
You see, I'm with you, and I thought about it long and hard as well. And I got the Saints covering the 2.5. And again, that's another one of those lines that Vegas puts out there, 2.5 points. It's like, okay, yeah, go ahead, take the Saints. They should win by a field goal. But again, maybe they know something we don't. And I talked about the Rams' numbers defensively. They are good, even though I feel that they are somewhat, again, kind of skewed. But the Rams' numbers defensively are pretty freaking decent. So, like I said, against the run 4th and against the pass they're 11th. But I'm going to go and bank on the fact that the Saints are going to make some plays on defense, maybe a sack fumble, an interception return for a touchdown, something like that. So I'm with you. Yeah, I'm with you guys. I'm going to take the Saints to cover the 2.5 points right there. All right, next game, AFC West battle. I don't really want battle, maybe not. Raiders and Broncos. Oh, gosh, talk about a freaking disaster. So Broncos coming off their bye and a win. They beat the Jaguars. It seems like 15 months ago this thing happened. But, all right, they got to get their stuff together over here, and they're favored by 3 points. The game is in Denver, so Raiders obviously the underdog going in. The Denver's pass defense is ranked number 1 in the league, guys, and their run defense is ranked 9th. So Vegas is going to have a hard time moving the ball, and their defense is middle of the pack. So if Denver can get the ball to Cortland Sutton a lot, because Jerry Judy's probably not playing in this game. I think actually he's already been ruled out, if I'm not mistaken. And also have Melvin Gordon and Latavius Murray run the ball. That'll be a recipe. Will they be able to execute? That's a different story. But I'm going with I think they will. Broncos favored by 3 points. I think they do those things, and Russell Wilson plays a clean game. Vegas will not be able to score enough points to keep up with them. So I think that maybe they win it like 20-10, Courtney, in my opinion. So I'll take Denver to cover the 3 points at home.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's Denver. Another ugly game. There's some ugly games on this slate.
Yeah, there are. It's not the best week, right?
I tell you this, I know we have our fantasy league. It's going to be tough to even like who to put in your lineups, and like it's one of those things. It's like you have to rely on any Denver players, got to rely on any Oakland players. I mean, Josh Jacobs, can he run the football? Denver's defense is pretty decent, and I think that's the only way the Raiders can win. They would have to move the ball with Jacobs. And I know in week 4, he did do his thing. I was just looking 28 times, 144 yards, 2 touchdowns against them. But Denver's at home. It's still tough to play there. I think Patrick Surtain with him and Devontae Adams, I think that's going to be a good matchup. Surtain usually just takes out the best receiver.
Yes,
he's that good. And if that happens, how are the Raiders going to move the ball? Like you said, if they key in on Jacobs and they shut down Devontae Adams, how else are they going to move the football? I think that's the issue. And then on the other end, as you said, Russell Wilson's got to play a clean game. He hasn't really played a clean game. I had high hopes for Russell Wilson. I'm a big Russell Wilson fan, but man, he is struggling in this offense. I know it's not just him; it's the offensive line. They're not really running the football effectively enough, and he seems like he just can't get on the same page with his receivers. And the coaching is terrible. So I like Denver just because they're at home, and it's going to be a real close game. It's again another divisional matchup, but I think they went ugly. It's something like probably 17-14 or 17-13. I got Denver winning.
Yeah, I think it's an under-type game, definitely.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree with Courtney on that one. And, I got to take Denver because, again, I'm just with him. I don't think that Vegas is going to be able to move the ball. I'm surprised that Jacobs had that good of a game that weekend. I know that they beat Denver the first time that they played. But, again, this one is in Mile High or whatever the hell they call this freaking place now. So, who you liking with the points?
Yeah, man. So this matchup, like you said, trench warfare. Like this is a war. It's in the fucking trench because this is gonna be tough. I'm not gonna lie. The more I think about this matchup, the more I feel inclined to do what I did on my show, and I'm just gonna do it. I'll give you. As far as official pick, I'll go with Denver. But as far as the numbers, I think this is going to be a tie. Like, I legitimately think this is going to be a tie. It's rare that you get offense that gets.
Did you just mute out?
I think you muted, yeah.
Hold up, Chris. You muted out. You hit the mute button.
Hey, it muted me. Sorry about that, you guys.
It's all right.
Where did I leave off?
We're good.
Oh, wait, I can't hear you now either. What is going on?
Uh-oh.
Sorry about that, you guys.
Nah, it's all good. Take a second. It's all good. It's all good. Let you have it where you look.
Mic check over here.
He was getting some other points he was making. I love it.
Yeah. He's making a point about the Broncos getting the points.
Let's see.
Let me go to the settings real quick.
Let me try something.
Yeah, just
unplug my headset. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you.
Now I can hear you. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Out so I could pick back up.
Yeah. Yep.
All
Go
right,
with it, baby.
Let's do it. So yeah, I think that this when it comes to this matchup, this is going to be an ugly one. I'm calling it a tie. I just feel like the Denver's offense gets gassed on their own, and the fact that they're literally at a detriment when they're playing at home because of the altitude that you mentioned. I just feel like this is going to be such an ugly game. So many punts. My official pick is the tie, but I'll give you Denver as far as what I'm thinking here.
I love that. I think that's so freaking funny. Yeah, I think this game could be a tie. It really could be. It has tie written all over it. Yeah. You will be the prophet after that if that does happen.
Right. And it could be a 0-0 tie. I mean, it could be 3-3 or 0-0, and they go through overtime. both kick field goals,
Oh
and that's
my
it. And the
God.
Raiders are 0-5 on the road too, so let's not forget about that.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. They just can't get it together, just like Denver.
No.
So
They're both very, very poorly coached teams. That's a big
Yes.
problem.
Yes.
If they had better coaches, they would be better teams. And that's the same thing goes with Brandon Staley with the Chargers.
Yep.
Amazing. Andy Reid is the only good coach in that division, and that is why Kansas City is on top, because they all have talent. They all have talent.
Yep.
But that's the difference. You got the head coach. There you go. Anyway, all right, next game. This one's probably the game of the week. Maybe it is America's game of the week. I don't know. I haven't looked it up, but the Cowboys and Vikings, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the Vikings are hosting the Cowboys, but Dallas is favored by 1.5. Me, I'm not surprised at all, because before I even looked at the line, I thought Dallas all the way. Now, Dallas's defensive passing-wise, they're ranked third in the league, which is great because they're going up against Justin Jefferson and now T.J. Hawkinson and Adam Thielen. That's awesome. Is it going to hold up? I really don't know. Now, where they could get gashed is the run, because Dallas is 24th against the run. So Diggs, listen to me. So Dalvin Cook, excuse me, thank you, and Alexander Madison, they could go off. So they can have big games. But then on the other side, Minnesota's pass defense really isn't all that good. They're ranked really low in the league, and their run defense is kind of middle of the pack as well. So Tony Pollard, he can get going. Dak can get going with CeeDee Lamb. I think this is a game where a lot of points can be scored, Courtney.
Yes, a lot of points is going to be scored in this game. And as good as Dallas's defense has been, as you said, they're in the same boat with the Eagles. Teams are just running the football, and I think the Vikings their game plan is probably going to have, okay, we're gonna involve Dalvin Cook, whether it's catching out of the backfield or running the ball. But like you said, they got all those weapons on the outside too. They Thielen, Jefferson. So can Kirk Cousins? I know I said in our chat, I was like, I'm still not a believer. As much as they've won 7 in a row, I don't think he's first Cousins, and it's a primetime game. We usually think this is where Kirk Cousins is going to turn the football over, because he still has those type of games, but he's playing well. I mean, I can't knock him for that. He's playing really well. And with all those weapons, you would think like, yes, this is why they're winning. That's why they won 7 in a row. That's why they're 8-1, and they're at home. Dallas is coming off a devastating loss against Green Bay, a game that they had in hand. CeeDee Lamb went off in that last game, but Dak turned the ball over. Those 2 turnovers were some of the key factors, and they found a way to lose that game. Green Bay's like, oh, we can just run the football. Let's just do this. So I think that's what Minnesota's going to do the same thing. They're going to say, okay, we're going to move the football this way with Dalvin Cook. So I like the Vikings to win this game. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be something like 28-24. But the Vikings, I think they definitely pulled this off by running the football. But Justin Jefferson might have a monster game himself.
No doubt. Hey, look, they're certainly capable. They went to Buffalo and they beat them 33-30. Albeit with a fumbled snap, Chris, which is crazy. So the ball's got to bounce your way, and the ball is bouncing Minnesota's way this year. It wasn't bouncing their way last year, so that's a great thing for them, and they do have that going. And Dalvin Cook and Madison, they can go for 200 yards in this game, and if they do, Minnesota will probably win. But to me, I'm thinking Dallas will focus on that. They will make sure that Justin Jefferson doesn't get off by having a guy up top and putting Diggs on him down low, kind of in a man zone kind of scheme. So I'm thinking that Dallas can do a good job defensively. And if they're able to run the ball and get their run game going and get play action happening, I feel like Dallas can win this game. And again, this will come down to coaching a lot. And you got to give Kevin O'Connell a lot of credit right now with them being 8-1. And McCarthy, is he going to keep doing what he's doing and have this offense running? And I don't know. We'll see. So again, I like Dallas. Courtney likes Minnesota. You got to break the tie.
I gotta be the one. I just gotta say off the top, I'm really glad that you give the shout to the most presidential backup RB in the league, Alexander Madison. Just love that name. As far as the respect he deserves, though, I think he's one of the best backup RBs in the league.
Yeah.
It's more of a 2-headed monster than it is just a Dalvin Cook show.
No doubt.
So that's what is making me lean towards the Vikings as well. I'm picking the Vikings in this one, but I agree with Courtney. I really am not sure about this team either. Right? Like I feel like this team is a couple of mistakes away from losing multiple games this season, considering a lot of those games were won by 1 possession. So I'm not entirely sold on their record, but I think when it comes to this matchup, they should be able to come out on top. I don't know. Dakota Rain, you got to get it together, man.
You got to figure it out because he's not playing that well. Kirk Cousins, you could say he's outplaying him this year. I guess you could really say that.
Oh,
right
yeah.
now. Dak's got to
Definitely.
get his stuff together because I expect more from him. I really do. So, and look, he's in his prime right now, his prime years, and it seems like he's regressing. So something's got to give.
Yeah, is he healthy? That's the question too.
Maybe
Is
not.
Dak really healthy? We
That's a
don't
good
really
question.
know. And Zeke's banged up. I know if we don't know if he's active or not. I know Pollard has played well, but if they get Zeke and they have Pollard too, that can help. That definitely helps. I mean,
Absolutely.
Zeke's not the explosive player he used to be, but he's banged up too. That could still be injured. I mean, it's maybe he rushed it back in with the finger. I know he had the hurt finger, so who knows? But they only win when Dak plays well, and it's a toss up with Dak. It's like if he starts playing well and they move the football, they run the football. CD Lamb had a big game last week, so
Yep.
they can continue to get CD involved and the running game involved. They could move the ball against Minnesota, but I do like the Vikings what they have more than what Dallas has on that end of the field.
It makes sense. Hey, the record says that they're better, and they've been playing like it this year. They've been again winning all these close games within 3, 5, 7 points.
Yeah,
they're getting it done.
Yep.
And you know what? Nobody's talking about Kevin O'Connell for Coach of the Year. So you know what? We should talk about it. No, we'll not talk about it, but mention his name for a Coach of the Year. He should be somewhere in there.
Yes.
All right. Anyway, all right. Let's go to AFC North. We got 3 games left, guys. We got the Bengals at the Steelers, and I feel like the Steelers haven't played in like a month. It's just weird. But this game also, I would expect to be probably on the low scoring side. Cincinnati's defense, they're really good against the pass. They're ranked 7th, and they're pretty damn good against the run. They're ranked 11th as well. Pittsburgh is pretty good against the run, so Joe Mixon may have a tough day, but where Cincinnati can get Pittsburgh is in the passing game. Pittsburgh is not doing a good job, Chris, against the pass. They're ranked 25th right now, and I know Jamar Chase is not in there, but if T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Hayden Hurst, if they can get it going, Cincinnati should be able to cover the 3.5 because I don't see Pittsburgh being able to get off and do their thing to score enough points to actually make it a worthwhile game. So I think Cincinnati can get up to 23, 26 points, where Pittsburgh will probably sniff around 10 or 13 because Cincinnati's defense, again, is really good. They're very underrated, and nobody talks about them because they have Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. So I like Cincinnati minus 3.5 in Pittsburgh.
I love the analysis. I agree with you 100%. Their defense is unheralded, but it's also deserves to be noted that their defense is pretty banged up. A lot of their starters went down last week, and I'm not exactly sure the status on all those injury reports, right? So I feel iffy about this matchup. This is a game I said earlier on my show too. I was like, I just hope somehow we finish this game and both these teams die, right? That's my goal here. But when it comes down to the way these teams match up, obviously getting TJ Watt back is huge for the Steelers. He is their lifeblood of their defense. But at the same time, considering coming off of a big injury like that in a matchup like this, like I think he makes an impact, but I don't think he makes the game-changing impact they would need him to make in order to win this one. So I'm going with the Bengals here.
All right, no doubt. All right, so that's 2 for the Bengals. So the Bengals, Courtney, do they cover that 3.5? And again, that 3.5 is sneaky, where they're saying, oh, maybe take Pittsburgh, where they could actually be in this game at home, a home dog. But me, I'm not falling for it. I think that Joe Burrow is going to have a really big day passing, and Joe Mixon will be involved in the passing game as well.
Yeah, they're gonna. That's tough because the line started at 5 and then it went down to 3.5. It was 5 like I get early this week, and then it just dropped to 3.5. So it's like you said, it's one of those matchups where you're like, wow, I think Pittsburgh wins this game. The Bengals are so up and down. Like, and yes, they're coming off their bye, and then they should have a lot of confidence coming in here. Remember, Pittsburgh beat them first week of the season too. It was 23-20 in overtime. So, and Pittsburgh's playing with they're playing with a little bit of confidence now. They beat the Saints. They're like, okay, let's see what we got. He said TJ Watt's back. Defense is he said he is their lifeline on their defense. Can Cincinnati move the football? Yeah, I think they have to move it in the air. I think they got to throw the ball, in which they will. But Pittsburgh's defense is not as bad as we think. For me, they're not as bad as we think. So I kind of like Pittsburgh in a close game. This is one of those AFC North matchups, one of those ugly, bruising matches, as you know, Chris. You know that with being a Ravens fan. So I like Pittsburgh in a very, very close game, something like 21-20.
Well, if that's going to happen, then Najee Harris is going to have a big game, in my opinion. He's going to, and we haven't really seen that yet from him. And I definitely get your analysis; it makes sense. So yeah, if that's going to happen, we're going to have to see some Najee Harris do some things. He's going to really have to get the game going because Kenny Pickett's not going to light it up. We know that, but yeah, having T.J. Watt back, that helps the passing game as well. There's no question because there's a lot less time for the quarterback to get the ball off. So it makes perfect sense. I like that right there.
Yeah, and then since he's offensive line, it's still a weakness.
It is.
And then T.J. Watt can just get in there and pressure Burrow into sacks, turnovers. Like I said, I do like I like the Bengals, but they've just been so up and down, and it took the running game. It took Mixon. He's not gonna score 5 touchdowns again. That's tough to do. It's like that's really tough to do. Like I said, we both play all three of us play fantasy, and I play DFS a lot. It's like, man, Mixon 5 touchdowns. Like, well, he's not gonna do that again. But their passing game, though, I think that's where Cincinnati will have the advantage with their passing game. You said with Boyd and Chase. Oh no, Chase is out, but Higgins and Boyd. They could eat, and then I think that's the way Cincinnati would probably have to win. But I think Pittsburgh wins a close one, though.
That'd be interesting. Look, Cincinnati, if they lose, they'll fall to 5-5, and they still won't get Chase back for another 3 weeks. So they got to keep their head above water until they get him back if they want to make the playoffs. So that's very interesting. These games are important for them. All right, we got 2 more. We got Sunday night, and then we're going to go to Monday night, and we're going to go to a different country for that one. That's Mexico. So let's go to the Chiefs-Chargers first, where the game is in Kansas City. So expect it to be cold. Let's see if that, affects, sunshine over there. Justin Herbert and his long hair. They're getting 5 points going into.
It's actually in LA. They're in LA. Yep. Chargers.
I'm sorry. Yep. I totally apologize. That's right. The game is in LA, and the Chargers are actually getting 5 points. So that's the way it's going. The Chiefs are favored on the road, and that makes perfect sense to me, Chris. I'm all about that. The Chargers defense. They have a really, really tough time stopping the run. That's not something that Kansas City does, but maybe they get Jerick McKinnon involved, maybe Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Pacheco. Maybe those guys start getting involved a little bit. KC's run defense has been pretty good this year, but again, that number could be skewed, Chris, also because they go ahead and they come out to 14, 17-point leads, so a lot of teams are trying to pass on them as well. So LA, they've been banged up. They're hurt. They've played well against Kansas City. So this should be a really tough game. Not that they have a lot of fans at SoFi. LA does not have a lot of fans over there, but Kansas City is one of the better teams in the league, and the Chargers are a terribly coached team, but they do have a lot of talent. Now, Keenan McCardell, Mike Williams, are they both coming back? Is one coming back? They're going to need it to go up against Kansas City, Chris.
For sure, man. This matchup, it screams so many different things to me, right? So I'm having a hard one picking this one. I have to say the most underrated and important part of the Chargers offense is pound for pound. Austin Eckler. I love what he brings. I love his nickname just because obviously the combat sports connection. You love to see it, and just he's a dog, man. In receptions, in running the ball out the backfield, like the man is their MVP on offense. I know Herbert gets all the love because of his arm talent, but this season you got to give it up to Eckler. He's the reason why they're able to do what they're able to do. I agree with you on the point, though, about having bad coaching. I feel like they put themselves in weird positions, and against a team like the Chiefs, you can't put yourselves in those spots. But where I do feel, and something that I think is sneaky underrated when considering this Chargers team, I think even though the talk of the town early on was everything is fine and we're good, I think there's something still wrong with Herbert's ribs, man. I think there's a big reason why the running game has took off in the way it is, and it's such a big focus of what they do now, just because that you can't expect that same load out of a hurt QB, right? So I really wanted to pick the Chargers to cover here, but there's just so many things going against them in this matchup, so give me the Chiefs.
Yeah, I hear your rationale over there, and the 5 points and the fact that the Chargers do play well against them, that's why I want to take the Chargers getting 5, even though I certainly think Kansas City wins this game. But, they do play them really well. But, yeah, you're talking about one of the best coaches in the league, Courtney, against one of the worst coaches in the league, and that goes a really long way in the NFL.
Yes, coaching and Andy Reid. Shout out to Andy Reid. This guy, this offensive mind. And what he can do with when he has talent, definitely what the Chiefs are doing. And Patrick Mahomes, to me, is still the best offensive player in football. I know some people are picking, they pick other people, other players, things like that. But Give me Patrick Mahomes over everybody still, because this guy can just still put up. He puts up points. He can do plays he can make. But I agree with Chris. I think the thing with the Chargers, I think Herbert's banged up. He's still banged up, and they said they're losing they got their top two receivers are out. Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. They're both out. Yeah. We don't even know if Keenan Allen's going to play. He says he's going to play, and then he doesn't look right. I think he just doesn't trust. I think he's got the hamstring issue. He doesn't trust it. Mike Williams is banged up, and it's just been the Austin Eckler show with Herbert, and it's just not enough. I know Josh Palmer and others have stepped in, but it's just not enough. You got your two key receivers are out. Your offense is going to struggle. And teams are keying in on Eckler, and Herbert hasn't had that year we predicted he was going to have. He's still putting up good numbers. I mean, it's 2,400 yards, 14 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions, but you could tell the ribs are affecting him, and the keys of him losing his two top receivers most of the year has really hurt. I like the Chiefs. Like I said, I don't know about the points is tough, but I think the Chiefs win. I think they win pretty, not handily, but I think they do win something maybe like 27-20. But the Chargers, because they're good enough, they're home, they're good enough that they could put up points against this Chiefs defense. But I like the Chiefs to win, and just Patrick Mahomes will make enough plays to win by at least by 7.
All right. Okay. There you go, man. Yeah. And we'll see how many points are scored indeed, because it's the highest over under of the week. It's 52 points, which is a hell of a lot. And that's something I would stay away from. I don't like that.
I'll take the under on that one. Definitely.
Yeah. I'd probably go 1-2. But I could see it going over. It'd be one of those
it could go over
30 games. I'm just not touching it.
Yeah.
All right. Monday night, my 49ers are favored by 8 points on the road, quote unquote, which they're really not. It is an Arizona Cardinal home game in Mexico City. Again, the NFL traveling to Germany, London, they're going all over the place, and now they're going to Mexico City. So the 49ers, we know about their defense. They are the best defense in the league. They are 4th against the pass, 1st against the run. Arizona's defense is really bad, especially against the pass, which is not the 49ers' forte over here, but that means that Jimmy can have a good day throwing to Brandon Ayuk and Debo and even Kittle. But we know that they're going to run the ball. That's what the 49ers do. They grind it out. And divisional games are interesting. So Arizona, I expect to be able to get a couple of plays here and there to D-Hop and whatnot. James Conner, maybe he'll have some success. But no, the 49ers are definitely the play over here. They should win. But 8 points, guys, I don't know if they're going to win by that much. It may be a 24-17 game, Courtney, so I'm not sure which way to go.
Yeah, I like your 49ers to win this game, too, because Kyler Murray might not even play. So it could be the McCoy show. I know Kyler Murray's questionable.
Which may be better, actually, because
it's possible. It's definitely possible. But the 49ers, they have so much. They said defensively, the best defense in the league. And then offensively, they got so many weapons. And they're running that two-headed monster. Even when they got McCaffrey, I know we talked about this in our chat. Even when they got McCaffrey, it's like Shanahan's gonna, he still loves those running backs. Mitchell, if he has that hot hand, he's gonna run with Mitchell. He's gonna run with McCaffrey. Whoever it is, they got the hot hand, and Mitchell got a lot of play last week too.
Got 89 yards on the ground. Absolutely.
Yeah, right. And I think the key for the 49ers, I just read that stat. It says here, when they protect the football, they win. They have 2 turnovers in their 5 wins. 11 turnovers and their 4 losses. So protected, that's a key thing. And then the Cardinals on the other end, they have forced a turnover every game that they've won, multiple turnovers in 3 of the 4 wins. So I think it comes down to that. I think that is a key, the turnover battle with that. The 49ers protect the football, and they don't turn the ball over, they win this game. But I agree with you. I think it's going to be a closer game than what they're saying. I don't think it's going to be at 8 points. I think the 49ers end up winning something close like 24-20.
Yeah, you see, I'm in the same boat as you. I definitely got the 49ers. I'm with him on this one, Chris, 100%. Just the 8 points is a lot. And, there's no reason to think that the Cardinals are going to be able to score a lot against the 49ers. But divisional games are a little bit weird. They're a little interesting. And, yeah, even if Colt McCoy does play, I don't really see it being much of a difference because Kyler Murray has been off his game this year.
All great shouts, and I think them being in Mexico City doesn't get the shout that it deserves too, because that's big altitude right there. That's higher than Mile High, if I'm not mistaken.
Right,
So
right.
that's a big factor that isn't being considered in this game. So I agree with you guys 100%. I think there's no way the Niners lose this. Like if you're going with a Cardinals ticket, just a straight up Cardinals ticket, this is a 1-800 gambler moment for you, man. Like you need to figure that out. But I'm definitely getting the Niners, but I don't think they cover those 8 points.
Yeah, 8 points is a lot. We'll see. Wow. Okay, so we agreed on a whole bunch of stuff over there. I like that. It's that great minds think alike. But I hope I don't want to play this tape back Monday and be like, oh shit, we were
off.
No, but we put our heads together. We had numbers to go through it. No, that was fun, man. I like doing this, guy.
Yeah.
On our show, we pick our games and everything. Like a lot of us, we pick games, but very rarely do we get to go through the spread and go through certain numbers and why Vegas has this team by that much and so on and so forth. But yeah, a couple of weird ones out there this week, like Detroit only being only getting 3 points against the Giants and things like that, and the Cowboys, who are 6-3 right now, and they're a 1.5 favorite against Minnesota, who's 8-1. But hey, Vegas knows what they're doing, man. Oh man, this is fun. I love it. Let's go around town over here. Chris, what's going on with you lately? Tell the people where they can find you. What's going on? What's good? Fantasy, whatever. Tell them, let them know.
Whew, I got a lot going on. Funny enough, I'm here battling COVID right now. So send me some love on Twitter.
Yes.
Getting out the right side of it. So can't be too upset about
that. Get better, man. Get well. Definitely.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. We just dropped another episode of The Sideline Guys, so check that out where we covered every single game in the NFL this week, as well as doing a deep dive on UFC 281, which just happened. So many different storylines, but a record-setting event. The most first-round knockouts in a card in UFC history, and tied for the most finishes in UFC history in a single card. So one of the more jammed-packed shows as far as what we cover. So check out TSG. I also had another episode of the MMA Archive just drop on UFC 17 Redemption. Listen to these names. Chuck Liddell, Dan Henderson, and Carlos Newton all made their debuts on UFC 17. So that's the event that I covered there. Just had that one posted up too. So check those out. And you could find me on Twitter at Negron MMA, as well as Instagram at Chirs Negron _.
I like the Instagram. I love that. It's perfect.
Instagram. That's all we might have is Instagram, because Twitter might be shutting down.
Right? Oh my gosh, I know. Yep. We'll have to find other ways to communicate now. God forbid we call each other, right? It's Chris, man, you do a great job for real, man. You do an excellent job, and thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. And we got Courtney, the real deal, man. You've been doing your thing. You've had a lot of great interviews lately, bro.
Yeah, the real deal with Courtney Harden. Get the real deal. That's on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all the social media and podcast platforms. You can find it there. BS3 Network, as well, Roku TV. Just grinding, man. Just trying to put out, try to put out the quality material. Shows almost every other day or a couple times a week. No show today, so that's why I said I got to jump on here.
Nice.
Take a little break. Just had a show last week and had a couple shows this week too. So yeah, you could just say the real deal with Courtney Harden every other day, mostly Saturdays at noon. So definitely check it out.
Oh, you damn right. You better check that shit out if you haven't yet. Again, another one of my favorites. So, I'm a huge fan, and I've been a guest on that show, and I freaking love it. And that's why you guys are here. I invited, you came like immediately. I love it. Like, this is perfect. So awesome time, guys. Again, you can catch 3rd and 3 podcast Wednesday nights at 7:00, unless Nikki, the boss, is doing something else. We have time. But normally, 7:00, we're on doing our thing live and having our fun with our freaky fantasy football draft and all that other good stuff. So you'll check us out then. We'll see who won freaky fantasy football draft, the best locks, our picks, everything, all that good stuff. And this was great. Power 32. Great to have the power of Chris and Courtney in the house today, guys. So again, I really appreciate it, and we'll do it again.
All right. I don't do this often, but you got to get me on the 3rd and 3, man. You got to get me on the 3rd and 3. I don't ask for much.
He said, I just want to get on. Yeah, I've been on it. So it's been, 3rd and 3. Love that. And don't forget, we play each other too. Jason, we play each other in fantasy this
That's
week
right.
too. So I gotta continue this win. Nothing. It's nothing personal. We gotta continue this. Gotta get that top spot again, man.
You're killing it this year, man. You're killing it.
Tie for second, man. Gotta continue to win, man. Got to.
Hey, I got to try to stop you, bro. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. All right. So I got 2 jobs. I got to stop you in fantasy, and I got to get Chris on 3rd and 3. That's it. That's my homework. Done deal. Love it.
No
All right, fellas. Thanks. We'll see you all later, guys. Peace.